So agents are useless. Zillow can do everything.
Welcome to Beyond the Front Porch, because where we live is just the beginning.
This episode, we're going to talk about some of the misconceptions about real estate that TikTok puts out there.
Yep.
And the first one is that Zillow can do everything for you.
hmm There are actually lawsuits about that right now.
Yep.
So Zillow has done a lot of market research and say that what people want is a one-stop shop for finding listings, a mortgage broker, finding realtor, et cetera, et cetera. But what they didn't really disclose is that they get money from all of those things.
Yeah.
So when somebody just gives you one recommendation, be suspicious, right?
Right. Yeah. Because it's we're required to give people options.
Yeah.
So we do have connections and all that kind of stuff, just like Zillow. But I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to tell you who my favorite mortgage guy is.
Yeah.
But I also have several other favorite mortgage people that do a great job.
Yeah.
And it's your choice which one you go with.
Yeah. And what Zillow's always been in trouble for with that I've seen is someone will give me a long list of, we want to see these 10 homes. It's like, okay, I go onto the multiple listing service on MLS and I find three and I'm like, where are those other seven? So I start Googling, oh, that one's on Zillow. It says it's a foreclosure, not available. Oh, this one's on Zillow. It says it's still available, but it sold 2 years ago. No joke. And so they put outdated information. I feel like they've gotten a little bit better, but they put outdated information because they want to gather your information to sell it back to agents and lenders.
Yeah.
So
I mean, even the agents that they put out there and stuff like that, they're legitimate agents and stuff like that, but they're paying Zillow to
yeah,
be suggested, and they're not the listing agent on the property. They're
right.
just another agent like anybody else. So it's just like you put a random thing out there, and instead of Zillow, like I don't think they do any kind of vetting of their agents or anything like that. It's just
No,
whoever pays
so
to
it's
be on their list, and
yeah,
then
and a lot of times it's a team. So you see the main team person, and you recognize them, and you go, oh, I know them. They do a lot of transactions, and then you get a call from one of their agents who's like brand new in the business, and under their mentorship, but it's not who you think you're contacting.
yeah,
And that was a lot of the problem, is because these big teams are paying big money to Zillow, and then Zillow's pressuring them. They're keeping track of how many people they're referring to Zillow Mortgage. And if they're not referring a certain amount of people to Zillow Mortgage, they cut their leads. And so the pressure's on to send them to that one company,
yeah,
which is pretty crazy to me, because so much liability,
yeah.
because yeah, when we give you a mortgage contact, we're not getting any kickbacks.
No,
So
we're
like
not allowed.
sometimes they take us to lunch.
Yeah.
Okay, great. But yeah, and that's why we do very strict vetting of all of our vendors.
Well, and like I choose my mortgage professionals because they do a good job. Because when the mortgage
Right.
people do a good job, it makes my job easier.
Exactly.
When I'm working with a mortgage company that is falling behind on deadlines or it's not keeping up, that delays
hmm
closing, that puts a lot of stress on me, puts a lot of stress on my client. And
Right.
if something like that happens with a mortgage person, I won't work with them again.
Yeah.
I won't recommend them anymore because if they can't do their job, it makes the whole process harder. Like a
Yeah.
big part of buying a house is the mortgage. Like that's like
Yeah.
the main part of buying a house.
Yeah.
It's the money.
And it's the mortgage and title company and agent on one side working well with the agent and on the other side to get to a smooth transaction. And so, if we're on the listing side even and we see, Zillow Mortgage come in, we treat that as a big bank pre-qualification. It's like, is this legit? We need to do more research. Is there another qualified buyer out there? I do more vetting on the bigger banks
Yeah.
for sure, because I know that unless somebody says, hey, this contact at this big bank is my regular lender, they do a great job, we don't know. So,
Yeah.
and that's why we also recommend, when you are looking for a house, get pre-qualified with one of our lenders. It doesn't obligate you to use them, but get that pre-qualification letter, and then you can keep shopping around, because then you have a local lender backing you, which goes a long ways when you're looking for a house.
Yeah. So when they're like, "Oh, just use Zillow," you're not only getting like a random realtor when that random realtor recommends Zillow mortgage, you're also getting a random mortgage person,
Right.
probably not somebody that even that agent has ever worked with before, because they don't have specific people with Zillow mortgage that
Right.
they're working with. They're just recommending Zillow mortgage as the whole.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, one of the guys that I work with works with Highland Mortgage, but it's not like I'm just, just use anybody from Highland Mortgage. I'm like,
Highland, yeah.
I know Rob does a great job
Right.
with Highland Mortgage, and I'm recommending Rob because
Right.
Rob does a great job.
Yeah.
That rhymes.
You should use that.
Right? Rob does a great job. But yeah, so like it's you think that you're getting this like easy button, but it's really actually probably going to be harder.
Yeah.
The process is going to be harder.
Yeah, and then also Zillow, if you put your information into Zillow, they have your information and they sell it. And that's one thing that, we get leads through our website, and I call them and I say, oh, we're just looking. And I say, well, you know what? Keep using our website because your information stays private with just us. We're not selling it. We're not giving it to another person. Whereas Zillow, Realtor.com, even all the big websites, they're selling your information. So
yeah. So Zillow has everything, but it's maybe not the best of everything.
Yeah.
Maybe not the best choice.
Yeah, exactly. And there's been this new thing about some buyers are using AI to like write their contracts and for buyers and stuff. And it's just like, that's really crazy.
Yeah.
Because there's so much that goes into a transaction. Like the paperwork is just the beginning, and knowing how to fill out the paperwork to be advantageous.
Well, and to not break the law.
Yeah.
Like there's things that you can put in there that AI might not necessarily know. I mean,
yeah. And who's getting sued? Is AI going to be held responsible? No, that person, that buyer or seller, whoever's using the AI is going to be the one getting sued when there's a problem.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So it's kind of crazy, all of that stuff.
Yeah. So don't use AI for anything that you should be paying a professional for.
Yeah.
Like
not
doing your taxes, legal documents, that kind of thing. So.
Yeah. I mean, it's great for writing emails.
Yeah. Yeah.
But not for legal documents.
Right.
Not yet, anyway. Okay. So another thing that I think the TikTokers get wrong is saying that you don't need an inspection. You can have your friend who's into construction come look at the house, and he'll tell you if anything's wrong with it,
and it'll save you a bunch of money from the inspector. Because inspections right now, what do they cost? Like they start around $550 to $600 and go up from there. So they're not cheap.
They're not.
But you're also buying a multi-$100,000 property, like you're buying $300,000-$400,000 home.
Yeah.
Even if it's brand new.
Especially if it's brand new.
Right, because no one's ever lived in it. They don't know what's wrong with it.
Well, and not to say that like the builders are bad or anything, but the builders are human. The people who build those things are human. And so even though they have guidelines and all that kind of stuff,
they're put up so fast.
Things happen as you're going through. And when, whatever worker is installing some plumbing or installing some drywall or whatever, putting in electrical outlets, things happen, mistakes happen. It's human. They're human. Those things happen, and you want an inspector to go in and double check everything. You don't want the builder to go in and double check everything because they're going to be like, "Oh, that's no big deal."
And you have that warranty, and some of the builders do have inspectors come out, but you want an inspector working for you, not an inspector working for the builder.
Yes.
And then also like you've got a 1-year warranty that covers everything, but getting them to come out and fix the thing. Especially if it, like, what are some of the things you've seen? I've seen leaky dishwasher, disconnected ducts in the attic where you wouldn't know until your electric bill was crazy. They forgot to caulk all the windows. And in my personal home, they missed a spot of insulation in the living room.
Yeah.
What are some things that you've seen in a new construction inspection?
Things like the cable for the dishwasher wasn't long enough to get to the plug.
Oh, that's important.
Underneath the sink. So you couldn't plug in the dishwasher. They ended up having to, they got him to come in and fix it eventually, but it was like they had to get an extension cord underneath their sink so that they could plug in.
That's not safe.
Yeah. But it didn't reach because, for whatever reason, the installer, got the side of the sink wrong or whatever. And they didn't realize that the cord, like dishwasher cords are really short anyway, because
Yeah.
they're not made to go very far. They're supposed to just, go right there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like stuff like that is in insulation.
There was a home where they bought the home without using a realtor. They didn't get it inspected. They were moving in and they couldn't move their fridge in because the countertop was too close to the wall. Like no fridge would have fit through that space. So the builder had to come out and fix it after closing, and they couldn't move in their fridge. And then they had to deal with all the dust and everything of them moving the whole countertop, replacing, doing whatever they did. I mean, it was like this much of a difference, but they could not move in their fridge.
Yeah, yeah. I had somebody, this was in a remodel, but the space that they left for the refrigerator was right next to a catty corner pantry. And so, because they had the refrigerator so close to the pantry, like if you opened the refrigerator door, it was like, because it stuck out too far.
Only...
Yeah. So he ended up having to have, because there was a like laundry room closet behind it, but it had extra space there. So he ended up having to have somebody come in and push the drywall back to make a deeper alcove for the refrigerator so that he didn't have that, I don't know, conflict of doors.
Yeah. And hopefully the contractor fixed it for free as well, because they should have.
Because it was a remodel and not a new build. But I mean, it's like, it's things like that yeah. And I've seen, have you ever watched Fletcher's Home Inspections? It's a page on Facebook at least, but he goes through and he's like, don't do that. So, and new builds is one of his biggest things. Like I remember one where the house didn't have the vents on the eaves on the outside from the attic.
Yeah.
So like it was pulling air in, but air couldn't go out.
Oh gosh.
So, and then he said he looked down the row of houses of all of the houses that had built, and they left off those intake or outtake or whatever.
Wow. So then you're getting a hot attic and potential mold.
Yeah, because there's no flow. There's nothing going through.
Yeah.
So yeah, the builder, he said, had a little bit of a panic attack about that.
Wow. Yeah. Very important to get an inspection.
Yeah.
And I mean, they check everything too.
Yeah.
Our inspectors that we recommend, they measure the foundation, they do thermal imaging, they crawl under the home, they run all the water, and then they crawl under the home to make sure nothing's leaking. On a slab, they make sure nothing is coming back up. They test the doorbell. I mean, they check everything. Yep. And when you're buying, you're spending, a couple $100,000.
So you want to know,
is $600-$800 too much to spend to discover some $20,000 problem that you need to negotiate with the seller? Like I almost didn't recommend a camera because there were PVC pipes, there was no cast iron, but I was like, you know what? Yeah, do a camera, and they paid the extra money, got the sewer camera done. It was all PVC. We found 2 leaks. And the seller said, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know. I'll fix it." So they went and fixed it, and they found 3 or 4 more leaks, and ended up to be almost $17,000. Imagine if they would have bought that house and then had to discover that on their own over the course of several years. It would have been way worse and cost so much more money, but we were able to negotiate the seller. And also right now, the sellers are willing to do the repairs.
Yep.
So
yeah, we had one where they ran through the pipes and everything was good in the house, but from where the house cuts off and the city takes over, that was clogged. Yeah. So we had to get the city to come out and clear their line.
Yeah. And the city takes forever to do that.
Yeah. We had one where it had been redone and it actually had kind of 2 separate lines to the city. So it was because they had, I can't remember if they redid the bathroom or they redid the kitchen, but they didn't connect them. Yeah. So it was like, he was like running water over here and he's like, I'm not seeing it over here. And he's like, I don't know why. Or he was running the tub and didn't see it on the line that we could find. And it ended up that there was a second thing in the yard where that was for the bathroom side and this was for the kitchen side, and it was a big, but I mean, they never would have known that. Yeah. It was the one for the bathroom side was buried too. Like they had to come and dig it up so that he could.
The current owner may not have even known about it.
Yeah.
And that's something that it's like with an inspection, you're not finding out problems that the seller knows about. You're finding out problems that the seller doesn't know about.
Yeah.
So, and it's really in your best interest to get that. And
so that even if
yeah,
you don't get everything repaired or whatever,
yeah,
because most inspections are like 20, 30 pages long. But if even if
yeah,
you don't get it
it's a good
repaired,
to-do list. You're going
yeah,
in educated
knowing what
versus,
you're
yeah,
getting into.
yeah, versus not knowing.
Um, okay, next big TikTok fun. The world is ending. The market's crashing. Everything's going. It's a bubble. Like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
how much have we heard that since 2020?
Yeah. Well, and I just made a video today about we're so short on supply still that the Fed's been keeping the interest rates higher because they know that every time they bring the interest rates down, the market's gonna go crazy and the prices are gonna get pushed up, and then that affects affordability, right?
Yeah.
So what we need is we need more supply. We're still 4 million homes behind right now.
Yeah.
From the big 2008 crash where the builders just quit building for almost 10 years.
Which is interesting because I think it's local, and I
Yeah.
think that people are so used to housing, getting sold the moment it goes on the market,
Right.
or only seeing a sign in the yard for a week or
Right.
whatever.
And
So
that's not
now
normal.
now we're seeing signs in the yard, and I get lots of people who are like, well, what's going on? Like,
Yeah.
I'm driving through my neighborhood and I'm seeing all these signs and all these houses are for sale, and I'm like, that's normal.
Yeah. We're still not at pre 2020 inventory,
Yeah,
which is crazy to me because 2015 through 2020 were really good years. We were still seeing multiple offers, and we had higher inventory then than we do now when everyone's freaking out that, oh my gosh, it's a bubble, oh my gosh, the housing market's crashing.
well,
And
because people didn't expect to, like, it was almost normal to see a house on the market for 6 months,
right.
and we've gotten so used to not even a month for a
Selling
house to
first
sell.
weekend, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and getting multiple offers and
Right.
all that kind of stuff.
And
So
I think,
now that homes are sitting longer,
yeah,
we're still, even from agents, I'm still seeing the mentality of, oh well, it's been
what's
on the
wrong?
market for 4 months. What's wrong with it? And it's
Yeah.
like, there's nothing wrong with it. It's a good house.
Yeah.
Just haven't found the right buyer yet. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, and pricing matters so much more now. And I feel like
yeah,
more sellers are wanting to price a little too high. And we used to be able to do that. We used to be able to price a little too high and it would sell. And now we price a little too high and it sits.
yeah,
And so it's hard to convey that to a seller because they still have in their head, they're already taking such a reduction and they're like, this is the price I want. And it's still a little bit too high. So then it sits until we can get it into a better price point as
yeah.
well.
So pricing is very, very key
Yeah.
right now.
Like I think what average days on the market right now is like 70, something
Mm-hmm.
like that, 65, 70 in our area.
Yeah. And it's
So,
going up, and we are seeing, just gradually more and more houses on the
mhm.
market. Like, it used to be such a seller's market. Now I think we're more of a balanced market.
Yeah, but still, if a good house comes on the market at a good price, it's
It's
multiple
going to go
offers.
quick. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
still selling very
We just
quickly.
saw that with one of your listings,
Yep,
and it went with multiple offers. It was a beautiful house,
yep,
very updated, very like high end finishes and stuff like that. And
yep.
and it went quick. And that's what I'm seeing even with my buyers. Where the houses that we're looking at that are nice, are getting snapped up quick.
Yep.
So it's still possible. But yeah, not every house is perfect.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and also even in a weird market, there's life changes that happen where people still need to move.
Mhm.
Death in the family, divorce, outgrowing, needing a bigger home, needing a smaller home. People are always needing to move,
Yeah.
and so we're always going to have people moving.
Yeah. And I think now we're getting back to a certain market share where people are moving because they want to.
Yeah,
I think for a while it was only the have tos, and we're
yeah,
now getting back to the want tos.
yeah. I think people are giving up on the interest rates now.
Right? Yeah, it's been
No
this way
more
for a while.
4%.
Yeah, we're
I
not
got
going to see it again.
I got 5.5%, and I thought it was terrible. And now I'm like, oh yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So yeah, there's no bubble. The market's not
Yeah.
crashing.
And you don't want to wait for the perfect time. So the best analogy I've seen of that is you take a bouncing ball and you say, okay, tell me when it hits the table. And you drop it and then it's like, okay, that hit it. And you're either calling it right before it hits the bottom or right as it's coming back up. So you can't really ever time the market.
Yeah.
You know, you
You
can make
you just get lucky sometimes.
yeah, exactly. Like it's like the best time to buy a house is the same as planting a tree. It was 20 years ago or today,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And I think we're kind of getting back into the um, you have to live in a house for about 5 years before you get equity again. And I think that's freaking a lot of people out. They're like, oh my gosh, I'm stuck in this house. And it's like, well, no, this is normal. Like it's not normal for your home to appreciate by 30% in 1 year and
Or 50
and you're
or
able to
60.
move, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're still 45% up from 2020.
Yeah. Yeah.
So even with all this price reductions. So it's like we got kind of used to that and now it's like, oh my gosh, I can't sell my house at a profit and I just bought it last year. What's wrong? You know, that's not how it
Nothing's
works.
wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. We're
Yeah,
getting back to like
it's
the
more normal
normal
for things to appreciate at like,
because that's not
10%,
sustainable. Yeah.
whatever. Like it's the 40, 50, 60%
Mm-hmm.
that we saw, that is totally abnormal.
Yeah.
And so there is kind of a catch up going on too of people who bought in like maybe 2021 and
Mm-hmm.
2022 where they had to pay higher prices
Right.
just to get something.
Yeah.
Um those people I think are hurting a little bit, but I don't think that they're
Mm-hmm.
losing money. They're
Yeah.
having to maybe sell for what they bought it for,
Yeah.
but they're not losing money.
Yeah.
So I think that's
Like
where
they're still
people are
coming out.
freaking
They're
out.
coming out with money because they're paying over appraised value. You know,
Yeah.
so they were having to come with extra cash and everything.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, it's it's a weird situation for sure. But eventually, even those people will be right side up.
Yeah.
So
They just maybe
in the
they
next
move
year or
next
two,
year
yeah,
instead of this year and they'll have a little bit of equity
yeah,
or they'll be able to break even.
yep,
And I think that's just because, it's like it's leveling out. It's
mm-hmm,
normalizing. We would have been at this value
yeah,
if we had just gone on a gradual instead of a straight up and
right.
straight across.
And even those
We're
people,
meeting in the same spot.
right? And even those people that so like for instance, we had someone buy a house and they were like, we just need a house, like we just need a place, and we want it to be a good house. We don't want it to be a bad house. Well, we found an off market property that was coming on the market, and they bought it for about $430,000 in 2022. I looked back and it's now worth about 430. So it's like, oof, ouch. But also, they've had a place to live for 2.5 years. That is a nice house. That is what they were looking for. That is what they wanted. It was much better than paying rent.
Yeah.
And because at least they'll have broken even. Whereas before, it's like, well, you'll be just throwing money away and there's no chance of gaining equity. So I think by
Yeah.
the time they're ready to move, that they'll have equity because it's a great house, good
Well,
neighborhood.
and in the time that they've lived there, they're paying down their mortgage too.
Right, exactly.
So they're saving the money that they're putting in
Exactly.
as well. So yeah. So our next TikTok fun take is just offer 50K over, they'll take it.
Oh yeah, they'll take it.
Yeah. I mean, and should you talking about the people
Mhm.
in a year ago who overpaid for their home,
Yeah.
and now they're paying for it on the other end,
Right.
So yeah, you can offer 50K over asking price, but then if you have to sell that house, you may be under. You may not even get that 50,000.
I need to look up the value of that home that I sold. I was a listing agent and it sold for $100,000 over list price.
Yeah, see what that value's at right now.
From 479 to 579. Like it wasn't in like $1 million price point. I was like, what? Take this offer now. So, and they did have to pay over appraisal and everything, but yeah, it's appraisal. You can't just offer 50K if you don't have the cash to back it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the lender's going to double check the value and make sure that it's worth what you're paying, which is a good protection for you. So you don't do something crazy.
Like pay $50,000 more than the house is worth.
Right.
But yeah, so yeah, that's something you could do. It's probably not going to work out well for you.
Right. And some people, they say, well, offer way high and then we'll hammer them on the inspection. That's not a good, it's different between hammering them on the inspection versus going hard on what's on the inspection. Because, we've all had people offer high and then last day of the option period and they want $20,000 off the price of the house. And the seller's like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. And then they terminate and then we find a buyer that will buy it for, just about as much as they offered.
Well, and you never know what's
So
going to come up on the inspection. So
yeah,
it could be that you offer $50,000 over, thinking that you're going to get that off on inspection stuff, and
yeah,
then there's nothing really that wrong with the house.
right, yeah,
So, and the seller's like, no.
right, exactly, and then you're stuck.
Then
So
you're stuck. Yeah. So yeah, I don't think that
yeah,
it might work sometimes, but I don't think it's a good strategy. It's
no,
not good for you. It's
more,
shooting yourself in the foot.
it's more of a dramatic gesture that
Yeah.
just looks crazy.
Especially if you're not willing to actually pay $50,000 over.
Exactly.
Um okay, next TikTok. All you need is a side hustle, Airbnb to get rich.
Oh yeah, I almost fell for that one.
Yeah, that's not all you need to get rich.
Well, and an Airbnb is so much. You need the ratings to be able to charge anything remotely decent. You need to follow the local rules, and you have the risk of new rules being put in effect either by the HOA or the city, that all of a sudden you can't have an Airbnb anymore, and all of a sudden the house is useless. You have to furnish it, you have to keep it clean, you have to deal with people having parties and people leaving it dirty, and go look at some TikToks of that.
Right?
So Airbnb nightmare guests and stuff. I mean, it can be good, I think, if you're in like a resort town.
Yeah.
Like Vail or something, But
I have a friend who has an Airbnb in Lake Dallas, and she had somebody come in. They threw, and this is like it's a lakeside little older section of Lake Dallas. You can walk to the lake from it. It's small. It's quiet. It's like a dirt road. They threw a monster party. She said they had people all up and down the street.
Oh my gosh.
Throwing beer. Cops were called. They destroyed her house.
Wow.
She ended up having to pay, I think she said like $30,000 to get it fixed back up.
Oh my gosh.
She went after them through Airbnb, but
wow.
It was this long drawn out like 2
And Airbnb is not helpful.
Yeah.
They're not helpful.
She had to jump through hoops in order to get, and she's getting a fraction of what it costs.
Wow.
And
I've heard of people like renting out a house and throwing a wedding there. And then the person who owns the Airbnb is like, wait, there's a ton of guests there, and it's not a wedding venue. Like, I should be charging you for it being a wedding venue if you're going to have a wedding there, because that's so much liability.
Yeah.
Also, what if somebody gets hurt? What if somebody falls and breaks their arm or something, and all of a sudden they're suing you? Like,
yeah, there's a lot that goes, and it's like even just one Airbnb is a lot of work. A lot of work,
right?
To manage the bookings, to manage somebody going in and cleaning. Like that's why a lot of people on Airbnb have like a 3-day minimum or something like that, because if they're having to have somebody go in there and clean it every single day, like it's a lot. Trust me, I've done it. It's a lot. It's a full-time job,
right?
And then if you want to get rich, then you're probably having more than one Airbnb, and you can make good money with Airbnb. You can usually make more than you can renting something, but like you said,
it's more risk.
It's a lot more risk,
and they're not doing background and credit checks on them. I mean, it's like anyone can go up and do an Airbnb, right?
Yeah,
and get an account on Airbnb. They're not doing any sort of checks. Whereas with renting it out long term, you're at least doing background and credit checks.
Yeah. So it's not something that like you can't make money off of. You can make money off of Airbnb.
Yeah.
But is it like super easy to just get 5 properties, Airbnb them, and get rich?
It's not passive income.
No, it's not passive.
Passive income is buying a dividend stock, and you're getting the money.
And you can have property management. They have Airbnb management companies, but that cuts into your profit. So you have to have even more Airbnbs to get rich.
Right.
So that's kind of a TikTok fun take. Oh yeah, this one, TikTok. If you're staging, you're manipulating buyers. No, I mean, there's no difference between staging a home and just having your furniture in it if you have a nice aesthetic.
Staging is, you're not covering anything up, and if you are as a listing agent, you shouldn't be in the business,
right?
But you're not covering anything up. You're basically showing the house in the best light.
Yeah,
that's what staging is.
Yeah, because unfortunately, the majority of people lack the vision.
Yeah.
To see the potential in a home.
Yeah.
And so like like nobody's an interior designer. I mean, somebody's an interior designer, but most people aren't interior designers.
Yeah.
I know I'm not. I know that like there are things even in my own home that could be arranged in a better way to fully maximize the use of space and feng shui and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then there's things like
but then there's practical, like you're living in a space set up practically for you.
Yeah.
It's not set up to showcase the space in the best light possible.
Yeah.
Like there's a huge difference between
and
the
there's
two.
things that are like me. Like I have my own artwork up on the walls, and that's not going to convey well, you know, to somebody walking in who wants, you know, everything to be beige or whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. And that's the thing, is you want to appeal to the widest pool of buyers as well.
So you want that HGTV look. You want that Better Homes and Garden aesthetic. And because the reason those things are popular is because it's got a wide appeal.
People can envision themselves there more.
Yeah.
And, you know, when we hire a stager, they're not saying, oh, cover this up, cover that up. They're saying clear off your counters so that it makes the room look bigger. Pick up the rugs because that makes the room look bigger.
Remove your pictures. Remove the clutter. You know, have one thing on a counter instead of 10.
Yep. And so it's not anything deceitful. And that house that sold for $100,000 over, they did 90% of the things the stager told them to do.
Right. Right.
So,
and that's the thing too that I love with our stagers is that they can come in and take what you already have and just arrange it better.
They say, move this here, move that there, take this down. You know, if you have this, then put that there. You know, it's pretty amazing what they can do.
So there's no manipulation going on.
Yeah, it's the same thing with real estate photos. I mean, there used to be those cameras that would do the fisheye lens where the sides were actually warped. And they've quit using those for the most part now. But people walk in and they go, oh, this looks totally different than the pictures. It's like, well, it's my job as a listing agent to make the home look as beautiful as possible without being misleading, obviously.
Yeah, we're not using Photoshop.
Yeah, we're not photoshopping anything, although I did have somebody want something stain removed on their couch and freaked out about it.
On their couch.
And the photo company did it because we weren't selling their couch. Right. We were selling the house, but it was like right there and they were freaking out about it. And Zillow would not change the picture for 2 weeks. And I heard about it every single day. And I'm like, you call Zillow. But
Another reason not to use Zillow.
We're not using Photoshop.
But I mean, and not to say that I haven't seen things where like, you know, agents will have pictures on MLS where the grass is like photoshopped in.
Oh yeah.
And stuff like that. And to me, I'm like,
and our photo company, they'll green up the grass if it's brown, but they won't put grass where there's dirt.
Yeah.
They're like, we will not do that, but we can green up what's there so that people can see what it looks like in the spring. And I'm like, okay, that's fair.
Yeah. Yeah. Things like that I think are fair. But like, you know,
in California, they paint the grass themselves.
Yeah. Well, and now you can do like AI photos of things. And I've seen people do, but it has to be labeled. If it's an AI photo,
you have to be real careful with
photo.
It. Yeah, because a lot of times they'll move the windows or start changing the wall color and stuff.
I've seen it where like it's something that needs to be remodeled, and so they'll post a picture of like, this is what it could look like.
Yeah.
But it clearly states like, this is a generated image, you know, this is what it could be.
Sometimes people do have problems visualizing like, what's an outdated kitchen, what could that turn into?
Yeah.
You know,
with minimal, you know, like with painting cabinets or, you know, whatever.
Yeah. Like
so
cabinets
I've seen
and counters.
that done.
Yeah. I've seen that too. I don't like to do it because I feel like
I don't like to do it either.
Yeah. And I feel like it's, it kind of like, a lot of people like the classic look too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Let's see. Another TikTok take. Agents make 6% for doing nothing. First of all, I do not get 6%.
Yeah.
Yeah. 6% is for the whole transaction. So
and it's all different. It's all negotiable and it's all different.
It's all negotiable. It's all different.
Yes.
And so like whether it's 6% or 5% or 10%.
Right.
One agent is not getting that.
My grandparents used to make 10% in the 70s.
Well, and I know agents that charge 7-8% too. You know, it just kind of depends on what they're offering and what people are willing to pay.
Yeah. So we charge what we charge, but then you know, what a lot of people don't understand is we don't get paid. There's no hourly, there's no salary, there's no benefits unless we sell a house. we don't get paid to go drive out and show you 10 homes. Because
or 100.
Yeah, it's like, where do you think that money would come from? Not from our brokerage. Our brokerage isn't paying us, and you're not paying us.
We're paying our brokerage.
Yeah, we're paying our brokerage every single month.
Yeah.
We're paying National Association of Realtors. We're paying our local realtor boards. We're paying to have access to the houses. And we're having to also, then when we close, we have to pay for our own taxes, which are higher because we're 1099. And then we have to pay for our own health insurance and auto insurance, our gas. We have to pay for everything out of pocket.
Yeah.
There's no reimbursement or anything. And I think a lot of people don't understand that. Now, that's not to say that, oh, we should charge more because of that, because our services, but I think a lot of people just see they see the percentage, and then they start calculating, like, they make how much? But they don't understand that we're paying our broker, like, 20, 30, 40% of that. So,
yeah. And there's a reason for all of these things in place, because it's very easy to get scammed.
Mm-hmm.
When you're working with the sums of money that you're working with. Like, so the reason we have brokers is as a oversight, as a parental figure almost, to keep agents in check, because the broker is the one that makes sure that everybody's following the law, everybody's behaving ethically.
And there are still some bad agents out there.
And there's still bad agents out there. There's still people taking advantage of it. Yeah.
There was just a thing in Fort Worth of those people that said, oh, we build custom homes. They weren't realtors or brokers or anything, but they had no oversight. They were taking people's money and then not building the homes. And it was millions of dollars. And I think they're going to be sentenced to like 20, 30 years each.
Yeah. So that's why that's in place. And the brokers, take a part of our commission in order to, be that oversight, because they provide
and take on some of the liability if we get in contact with like a bum seller or somebody that is scamming and everything. So,
and they bring in new agents, they take over, training and guidance and mentorship.
They educate us so that we can spot those scams. And so
there's reasons for that being there. And
so there's a lot of risk.
There's a lot of things that are going on behind the scenes that people don't see, and they think, oh, well, that real estate agent, all they did was fill out a couple of forms and open a couple of doors for me. You don't really know what the whole process is going on behind the scenes, because there's a lot more to buying and selling a house than just opening doors and filling out contracts.
There's a lot of
knowledge, there's experience,
advice. And we're taking on a lot of the risk. We're listening to you and responding to your texts outside of normal work hours.
We're doing things with the title company, with the lender, with the other agent. There's a lot of stuff that we're doing. That really, as the buyer and seller, because we're representing you, you don't need to worry about. Like, that's the point of paying us.
You can sleep
so
soundly
that you
at
can
night.
sleep soundly while we're stressed out.
Yeah, exactly.
Making sure that, everything's taken care of behind the scenes.
And a lot of times I don't tell my clients, like, when there's something really, like, okay, the buyer says, oh my gosh, the appraisal came in 50,000 low, and they flagged the foundation for repair. So I'll be calling the lender and calling all these people to try and, like, figure out what we can do. And then I'll call the seller with a plan. Yeah. Instead of, if you didn't have the agent in there, the buyer would be calling you with this directly, and you'd be freaking out not knowing what to do. Yeah. But we have a plan. Okay, I have this guy that will do an engineer report for like $70. And we can get that to the lender. And then here's what we can do with the appraisal. And we can request a new one. We can do all this other stuff. Yeah. There's a lot that goes into it. It's like, people don't realize how much they need a realtor until something goes wrong, until they need a realtor, right? And then I've had instances where, there's been an instance with, I'm representing the seller, and the buyer all of a sudden is like, I don't think the financing is going to work out. And there's all this stuff going on behind the scenes and stuff. And I'm absorbing all that stress, and there's been times when we're at the closing table and I tell the seller, I'm like, by the way, the buyer almost terminated, 3 days ago because they couldn't, and I didn't want to stress you out about it. Got it handled. And they're like, oh my gosh, thank you. Yeah. And it's like, we absorb that stress and that emotional,
trauma.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's also why a lot of agents don't make it too, because I've seen agents stress out their client as much as they're stressed out, and that's no good for anyone. Yeah. They get so worked up and stressed out, they don't know how to manage their client, and then the whole deal falls through.
Yeah. Well, and there is a
and then they
high,
have an unhappy buyer and seller,
there's a high turnover rate with real estate agents. One, because it's people get into it thinking that all they have to do is fill out paperwork and open
Open doors.
doors.
I like houses.
Yeah,
I like people.
it's so much fun. It is fun. I love it.
Yeah.
But
Every day is different.
yeah. There's no boring days in real estate.
It's true.
So
Even when I try to make it a boring day, it doesn't work.
yeah. Well, I think that is the end of what we're going to do today for TikTok. So if you'd like to see more of this, let us know. I think it was fun trying to find the little TikTok fallacies that are out there. If there's any like TikTok things that you think would be fun for us to cover, let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
And yeah, so be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.